Hello everyone, and welcome back to Greenwood Adventures. Unfortunately, due to a mishap that I made with the camera, for my own camera, I managed to not record any of the audio, but I did gather quite a lot of footage, so I decided to show you just the highlights that I've discovered literally 2 days after the first Canal litter collection. I have quite a bit of a content to show you because a lot of things have happened in this video. Therefore, I don't want to completely delete all the footage. Thus, I'm going to narrate on top of this video and explain what happened. So, first of all, I got myself a new litter picker, which is more green, and I did run some tests with it, and it can handle a better pull strength, meaning that most of the items will not slip out, unlike with the orange litter picker. And I only got myself 4 bags because I forgot to restock myself, and so yeah, this is gonna be quite a limited litter collection, but nevertheless it's still something rather than nothing. Alright, so let's just jump in. So first things first, if you watched the previous video, which I will link in the description down below, or icon appear at the top corner somewhere, the card, I did collected some of these cardboards from this spot where the homeless people tend to live, so I can say that this spot has been trashed again. So I did what I do best, brought it to the bin. But right as I was walking further, I stopped here just before the bins, and I discovered my first needle of the day, which was pretty shocking because this is a very, very close area to the school. And of course there's a lot of rubbish hidden in the bushes. Then I used the same can so nobody would get hurt. Now unfortunately today was quite a windy day, and I didn't want to spend too much time working with these cardboards, so I just left them on the ground like that, pushed a bit under the bin so hopefully the wind won't gonna blow them away. Then I stopped by the same bench that I cleaned last time ago, and of course there was litter again. Quite disappointing. Then as usual, just behind every corner of the tunnel or the bridge, there's always some litter, some fresh litter, so I just cleaned as much as possible. So this is probably one of the cutest moments of the litter. I discovered a tiny figurine that was 3D printed by someone, a pumpkin figurine, so I decided just to keep it as a looting trophy, something that is actually fun and wholesome. Then I decided to stop by this sleeping bag and use up one of my 4 remaining bags and just to pack it up, because I decided that next time when I'm gonna walk past this area, I was just gonna pick this sleeping bag and bring it to the bins so someone could come and collect it, instead of just leave it here laying like a useless item that no one obviously gonna pick it up. And yes, I did wash my gloves off in the water. Surprisingly, in this area the water itself was fairly clean, but I still picked up some branches away. Most likely it's because the wind was extremely harsh in this area, as you can tell by the disturbance of the water surface. And of course I picked up my pace because I wanted to show you something that is ahead. But then I clocked something in and I had to make a little detour over in this spot. And pretty much in this area I just was flaming the River and Canal Trust folk for not really doing much of a practical work, instead of just preaching all the time. I picked up what I could and I had to move on. This girl over here was rolling her weed rolls and she was looking very suspiciously at me, which was quite funny. But I focused on my thing, checked out this bush, which was surprisingly not as littered as before, but of course there were some hidden gems in the bushes. And then again I found another node of litter, which is symbolized by all these cluster of leaves. I was just basically saying that if you see these leaves, just know that there's gonna be probably a ton of litter in the canal in these spots because of the wind that blows them up together. So I just collected what I could reach and moved on. However, what surprised me the most was this bench spot. Usually this bench was littered to the teeth, but today it had absolutely nothing, which was quite pleasing, so that saved me quite a bit of time. Now about this corner where a bunch of boxes stacked on top of each other, original intent was to put them all together into the bags, but due to a low amount of bags I decided to move on and for now just skip that area. Very unfortunate, but I couldn't do much about that. Then of course we did our usual stomp on the can, because that's the therapy. And now here comes the highlight of this video. So in previous video I talked about how it would be nice to have some kind of a transport method to carry the litter, and I did not expect to find a literal toy car here parked for no reason out of all places, which was really shocking to me. And of course it was broken, but the wheels worked, but it was so funny just to find this vehicle for some reason. So I checked the straps behind and decided that I will probably drag it back and use it as a temporary trolley. This find was extremely funny, but at the same time this just shows how people really don't care where they dump all their stuff. But yeah, this probably was one of the best highlights of the litter picking along the canal. And mind you, this was 2 days after the first litter collection. So I just parked my bag in the seat like a child, and yeah, I decided that I will be using this car as a trolley. However, what I discovered right next to it shocked me beyond. In this tiny spot I found 5 needles. 5 needles just dumped in here. So I just crouched down and carefully collected all of them. And thankfully there was a can in the car that I inserted. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then I stomped the can because the 5th one was still there, and I finally realized what these things are. Those are for heating the material. Then I collected all the litter and I found a 5th needle, which is now 6 in total in this video. So after collecting most of the bits, I finally was ready to move on. So I took the straps from the car and pushed it, dragged it. And with this temporary trolley I can finally collect some heavier stuff like this metal panel that is resting against the fence. Then I continued to move, and right as I hit this bridge there was a load of litter underneath it. As usual, where there are leaves there will be litter. And I blocked this whole path, so I had to step back a little bit so the one cyclist could pass by. Fun encounter. Too bad the audio is not in here. So after that little spot I moved on, and I kept dragging this car like some kind of a trolley, which quite probably looked ridiculous from third-person perspective. And of course I had to walk backwards because the car kept bumping into my shoe and the shoe almost flew off my foot, so I had to walk backwards. And of course I pulled some litter that is produced by the construction site across the canal. So I approached this first bench spot in this canal area, and surprisingly it was not as littered like previous time, so thankfully people managed to keep it fairly clean, but not for long probably. Then I pulled up to the second spot, and I'm surprised that this guy was not looking at me like I'm some kind of a unhinged person with this toy car. So I just collected what litter I found. It wasn't trashed as well. But unfortunately, this is where the main fun will begin. So I parked my vehicle to the side so it wouldn't block the road, and I started collecting the most ridiculous litter that I found in this spot. First came this that I have no idea where it came from, but it's here. So I shoved it right into the car, loot secured. Right as I was about to pick up my bag, I found a first needle in this spot, which is now 7th in this video. Then I collected some litter, pulled out this log that is probably from the construction site area again, shoved it right into the car, and continued with the litter. And then I pulled another needle, which is 8th now. Then gathered a bunch of bits, bunch of litter, and I clocked another needle, which is crazy. Then of course I did a rapid litter collection, clearly seeing that you can clearly see just how much in the flow I was, just no wasted movements, everything's perfect. Then I reached for the further litter and accidentally uncovered another needle, 10th needle. And it was insane just how much litter there was in this spot. This alone was like full bag amount. Casting nets on these nodes would drastically speed up the whole process of getting rid of all this litter. Then moments later I pulled this root ball out of the canal so boats wouldn't get blocked or it wouldn't cause any more issues than this canal already has. And then out of nowhere, out of all things, I spotted a coconut. A healthy coconut. No idea, but yeah, we got rid of it. And soon after I've spotted another crack needle. Then another. And another. And unfortunately, I clocked in another needle. This is just beyond crazy. And the worst part is we have geese and bunch of birds that swim in these canals, and these canals are littered with needles. If you're telling me that, then I would say animal protection are not doing their job, sadly. It's honestly pathetic just how much litter there is in this one tiny spot. Then I started brushing the leaves to the side because I realized that the wind can actually blow the further pieces closer to me. And just like that I clocked in another needle, and what I like about this guy who just walked past, he looked at everything that I fished out. And obviously that won't gonna change much, but at least he will now know what kind of a filth he's living around with. Then after finishing most of the litter from that spot, I decided to go search for a can that I could dispose the needles that I discovered, and I found a football ball that looked completely healthy, not damaged at all. I was thinking whether I should keep it, but I decided to just toss it away since there will be no use for me. But I couldn't find any can, and then I noticed that one bottle blew to the shore, so I just picked it up and I will use it to store all the needles into. Then I placed the bottle on the hood, just in case I will find extra needles. Then I double checked for extra small bits, trying to keep it as clean as possible, gather as much as possible, and of course getting my good dose of squats. And it seemed that keeping the bottle outside was the good idea because I discovered yet another needle. An incredible loot that no one asked for. Then I decided to declare this bag complete, pack it up, and move on. Of course, with many stops on the way, picking up litter from the bushes. Then this alcoholic cone decided to fall out of the doors, so I picked it up back again. Shoved the door, for real. But unfortunately this happened many times, so it was a struggle keep this thing inside the car. But thankfully I reached the deposit zone finally, where I can leave all the bags for someone to collect. And it seems like one bag in particular managed to offend someone because I found it ripped. That's quite a disappointing sight. Then I put down my last bag neatly, and as you can see just how much litter this whole area can produce. And now it was time to permanently park this car into the corner in this area. Then I cleaned up this area with one of the provided bags, because this area just is unable to stay clean even when there's hundreds of bags are hanged on the railings. People just choose to litter. Really disappointing. Then I decided to store the ripped black bag onto the car so most of the litter would stay there, instead of someone continue ripping the bag apart and all the litter ending up in the canal again, ruining the whole progress of making this area clean. And in the last video there was an umbrella, so what I did, found it, took it, broke it, and just disposed of it. Then I finished up this area, kept it as clean as possible. And right as I was about to head out, I spotted another tiny node literally right over here, filled with a bunch of litter, and unfortunately this spot had a dead pigeon. So I knew I couldn't leave this spot like that, so I head back to get this one provided bag and get rid of all of the litter from this spot. And this spot was pretty much complete, and as you can see it already got dark. I would have ended the video right here, but I decided to continue recording, hopefully to get some interactions with people, but due to lack of audio this plan failed miserably. But however, I did spot a bit of litter again. So this was the spot where I used up my last bag. And after a walk, I finally was able to get rid of this bag, leave it at the bin for someone else to collect it. And for the final bits here and there, I just used the small green bin bag that I have in my pocket, just in case, for like a smaller hand-picking moments, just doing as much as possible on my walk home. Then I was yapping with the canal geese and showing them just how much their home is littered by the people. But what I found interesting is that geese actually looked at the bag as well, so even the nature just knows how pathetic people really are in the city. And that's why I want to be part of a solution, not the problem. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this kind of a narration. This narration will not be a common theme, because I prefer to have a full thing with the audio, with my commenting, where everything feels natural. Even though this video might seem interesting, I prefer that kind of a video where it's out there in the nature, with the audio, with the ambience, with nature, and just people commenting, instead of just having this whole thing mute and missing out on very small, beautiful details. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, or not, whatever. No matter the numbers, I will still continue doing this, because I really do enjoy cleaning up things. And on that note, I'll see you in the next video, in the next adventure.